Today we're going to be watching another content creator, Omniarch, get rallied. They shared this footage with us in order to evaluate their game plan for defending their city and to level up everybody's game. So stick around for tips that are going to next level your city defense. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming and today we're going to be watching Omniarch take a rally. It's going to be an Edward and YSG song on the way to his city. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, consider smashing that subscribe button for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. We're a sponsored content creator, and Omniarch is also a content creator for Rise of Kingdoms. Check out the link in the description to his channel where he's going to share his own take on how this went down. Now, he's getting rallied by a 92 million power player, and I'm going to point out the first potential mistake here, which is that he went in and he actually scouted as this rally was on its way. Now, why is that a problem? Look, maybe he was very comfortable with what was happening, but he just forfeited his ability to peace shield for 15 minutes. Now, a peace shield is your way out of a really terrible situation, and I have seen people get completely obliterated in my own KVK because they scouted a rally coming to their city. If you're getting rallied, the thing you need to shed as fast as you can is your war frenzy, so that in a worst case, you can peace shield. Remember, you can only teleport out of this bad situation right up until the rally hits your city, and at that point, you are locked into combat. You're stuck. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You're eating that rally. Better hope you can peace shield people, so don't scout. Okay, the 3% war frenzy is really not worth it unless you're really confident you're going to win and something's not going to go sideways, and spoiler alert, you're probably wrong, something's going to go sideways. Now, he's got the General, which is a really good situation. He's got a Charles Martel and an Esong secondary on the wall. Again, it's an Edward with Esong as the rally in on his city. They do have all archers, and it does look like this rally is going to be really hard-pressed to get reinforcements through that pass. So Omniarch is going in, and he's probably going to check pretty regularly here to see how his hospital is doing. Spoiler alert, if you have all T4 and T5 troops at about 67 million power, there's no way in a KVK context that your hospital is going to fill. You're going to be totally 100% fine. But I get the concern there that, like, man, is my hospital going to fail? Now, because he has War Frenzy, no reason to check your hospital because you can't do anything about it. At this point, you're locked in. Now, on the topic of his buffs, I do like that he's got a rune. Hopefully, that's combat-oriented. He's also got a token going for defense, which I think is great. Between defense and attack, defense is probably the slightly better token. You can see he tries to random teleport, and this must be that moment. The moment he realizes, oh my gosh, I have to eat this thing. This hospital is going to probably not fill up. It might even get to halfway. That's what I would expect, given that he's already sort of halfway through this rally based on the health of his city. Like, he's going to be fine here, okay? He's going to be fine. He's going to get a lot of value inflicting deaths on the rallying army, especially because it's not getting reinforced, while himself doing some pretty good work. Now, you can see that this rally has the King skill active, which is pretty smart. So the King skill is active. They're doing 3% extra damage. I mean, they're really in on taking out Omniarch here. His Martel Esong is doing its thing. And it is a little surprising that his allies aren't jumping into Swarm, but let's just assume that they're all in agreement that, like, Omniarch knows what he's doing this intentionally. We want to inflict the maximum amount of pain possible. We don't actually need to go and protect him here, which is a true statement, actually. Omniarch's going to be completely fine all on his own, especially because he's got 10% of extra stats from the general title, so obviously the King was watching this all unfold. Now, the King's buff doesn't actually apply to a city. In other words, Omniarch's King couldn't go and give him a 3% damage boost. It doesn't apply to garrisons, only to marches that are on the field. And here does come an ally to go and help him out, which is lovely. That's great. They're going to go help him out. Presumably, Omniarch is going to have plenty of resources to heal his troops. And out of this deal, he's going to get a really positive trade. So those swarming marches make their way in. I like the Constantine for the buffs. I like the Ethelfled and the Alexander the Great, as well as the Richard I, all for the debuffs. Even the Minamoto Warlord debuff is very meaningful. We do see a Hannibal Barca supporting there, and their allies jump in as well. I'm pretty eager to see how this report turns out. So let's see if we can get a peek at that in just a second as this rally concludes here. And I mean, clearly the rally was the victor. Thank goodness this wasn't a stronger rally. There's the Fate Changer. I think a Tamaris as the secondary there would have been really terrifying. A little bit of shade being thrown there by Omniarch. Shade, love, depending on how you view it. Random teleporting to get out of the situation. All right. At that point, I don't think you have to go anywhere. right? Like something they can do. The first instinct in that situation, by the way, should be to, I suppose, teleport to a safe zone or immediately queue your hospital. Now, why would I say immediately queue your hospital? The only thing that could go wrong here is if they start swarming you. Obviously, they couldn't do that because they weren't there. But that happened to me when I got double rallied and then they had a bunch of armies standing around there and they swarmed me immediately after that. Because, yeah, you can still teleport while you're getting swarmed, but my hospital was nearly full and then I started taking dead troops. So here's the troop composition of their rally, and it looks like 330,000 in the hospital for Omniarch, 184,000 dead for the rally. I mean, look, a positive trade for Omniarch overall because he's just going to heal these troops and that just costs him resources. No big deal at all. So let's see here. Are we going to get a look at the troop buffs? Might have flashed that up on the screen earlier. Maybe I missed it. He's going to teleport, it looks like, onto territory. Reasonable. Reasonable choice. And after you take some pretty major losses, you do get a amount of resources here from the game, and you'll see, boom, here they come. So it's gonna come with like the names of your allies, but they're not actually giving you anything. It's fine. It's fine. So they're on their way to a city. Now, here's what he's got. Now, you'll notice that Charles Martel is not expertise. So he's missing some stats here and 5% of counterattack. Not that big a deal. Now, I'm gonna pause the video over here because this is an area of importance over here. So this set of armor, let me rewind ever so slightly. This set of armor is good, but we can do better. There's a couple things that I would probably try to do here. First and foremost, we notice that there's no accessories. Now, if you're battling against a single rally and you're prioritizing kind of what equipment to make, right? Like this legendary piece is very exceptional for defending your city. This is true. But I think for the amount of materials you're committing, you would be better off going and getting a trinket, an accessory. And I would do probably Silent Trial. That was available for like a very small amount of money with the new equipment update. I would have a Silent Trial on this commander, and that would be a game-changing upgrade for the amount of materials it takes to build this legendary versus a Silent Trial. I think the Silent Trial will do better. This is a micro-optimization, however. Overall, this set of gear is actually pretty good, and I like that he has focused on gear here that gives lots of stats to lots of different troop types. So this gives 12% infantry, 5% archer, 5% cavalry. Really amazing piece of gear. That's 22% of stats. The Sakura is also doing the same sort of thing. Lots of stats for lots of different troop types. Very, very good. The helmet, same story. 8%, 3%, 3%. So a lot of stats going around, 14% in total. A piece that I sort of question is these gloves over here. I think you would be better off with the Windswept set. And I personally use that. And the reason I say that is that, okay, this is giving you like 5.5% and 2.5% of stats, something like that. But the Windswept set is going to have 5% stats total plus 2% to all troop types, which is really good when you have that 2-piece set bonus. Because he's going to have 4 types of troops in his city, that's kind of like another 8% of stats. And he's already got the Windswept boots, so all it would have took is one more piece of gear. And I don't think that's a Windswept chest. I think that's Commander's Heavy Armor, which is nice. That's a nice piece of gear. It's got a good amount of stats as well. But I would bet you that he could have the other pair of gloves there and do a little bit better, and I'm sure he's already got those made. Okay, so if we continue on looking at the gear here, it is the Windswept boots, the Eternal Knight, which is very, very good. Stats Brutality, it's less stats than I thought, 5.5% and 2%. The Sakura, lots of stats. It is the Commander's Heavy Armor, and the Abyssal Visage, as I had described earlier, 833. Okay, so let's see the talents. Looking in here, we see, okay, here is the build that he must have been using. He just switched, but presumably this is what he had at the time. If we pause on this build, this is a really good build that I personally advocate for if you're worried about a multi-rally situation. And that is because the talents right over here, Know Thy Enemy, give you a huge boost if you have multiple things hitting your city. When you are surrounded, you get 9% damage taken reduction, which is really, really very exceptional for the amount of talent points you invest. Now, I generally like the Garrison Tree because you have all 4 types of troops in your city. So these points which are on the way are actually really, really good. They're giving you 0.5% to all troop types. That's kind of like 2% of stats of value, whereas these points up over here would give you 1% to infantry only. So I do really, really like this tree, but I would probably shed all of these talents for a single rally situation in favor of some of the talents over here. And even like the healing would have been fine. I think that would have been a micro optimization that would have helped. But overall, this is a very solid build. Because he wasn't being rallied by cavalry, he doesn't need this talent over here, which gave you 9% extra damage to cavalry. Check the card up in the top if you'd like to see a video about builds specifically for city rallies. Now, one other thing you could do to get a couple more stats out of the deal is to set your commanders in the commander tab. You can get, I think 1% health and defense and another % health for your primary and secondary commanders. These, of course, are micro optimizations. Here's the YSG. YSG is expertise, which is really quite good. So all in all, really solid choices for the garrison. That's at one point in time what I would have chosen. He's got France as a civilization, giving 3% health to all troop types, and he's showing us his city skins here. Look, in this context, you pick the city skin that gives probably health to the troop type that you have the most of, and removes stats from the troop type you have the least of. If you want to see a video about city skins, I'll put a card up in the top where we go in depth on that. All in all, a very positive trade for Omniarch, even though, okay, the rally technically did better in terms of the total amount of wounds that were inflicted here. The thing is that Omniarch walks away with all of his troops healed, back in action, and this alliance is now down 184,000 troops. Omniarch down the resources. So all in all, really solid to take one of these rallies. I think very well played. Again, the optimizations I would make in the future is to just be careful when you're scouting. You probably knew what you were doing, but many players do not. They scout, and then they can't peace shield, and they get completely ready-racked. So be very cautious of that, especially in a world where there is imprison. If you get imprisoned in this situation and you take multiple rallies, and by the way, we have done this to people, and I'll put probably a video on my channel in the next 24 to 48 hours where someone got just completely wrecked by incorrectly managing their war frenzy, and yeah, they get imprisoned, and it's game over. I mean, you could lose 10 to 20 million power in the blink of an eye. It's just war frenzy while you're getting rallied is very dangerous. Having buffs, very solid. Again, general, token, rune, commander, tab, and of course the talents, also super critical. I mean, look, you should custom your build, or customize your build, based on the rally that's coming in. And you can have somebody else scout it if you need to figure out what rally is coming your way, you know what I mean? But for 100 gems, or even just using your alliance currency, you could have like the perfect build for defending your city for that exact situation. And like, yeah, you're going to get 100 gems worth of value, even if you pay the raw gems. Defending your city with a slightly more optimal build, worth every gem. Truly worth every gem. Overall, again, really solid defense by Omniarch. And if you want to check out his channel, which I would strongly recommend that you do, the link is in the description. Thanks again to Omniarch for sending this footage. I personally am subscribed to Omniarch. You should consider subscribing as well. And if you're looking for more videos about city defense, I'll put a card up in the top for my city defense playlist. I strongly encourage you to go get a look at this playlist and shore up the way that you think about and are prepared for city defense, because, look, although a peace shield is your very best garrison defense, you never know when you're going to have to take a rally given the new world we live in with imprison and war frenzy. If you enjoyed the video, throw a like onto here and consider subscribing to the channel for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.